Good morning. This is the 23rd of December, 2020, and it is nearly Christmas. So this is my last but two kiln openings that I'm going to do before Christmas Day. I've got all three of these kilns loaded, and then my little one at the end is not full yet, but I've got three of them all ready to, well, one's firing and two have been fired and cooling down. So this is it. This is the week between Christmas and New Year. We don't really do much, so just hunker down and try and relax after the Christmas rush. So we're in Nova Scotia, westcoatbellpottery.ca if you want to check out the website. And this is the latest kiln load. So let's give you a good angle at it. Let's see if that's good. This is a Tucker kiln. It's about, I would say this one's about 8 years old. It's been a really nice kiln. And most of the glazes here are using that Strontium crystal magic I did the videos on recently, where I've been gradually refining how I use it, so because I can control it more basically. It actually runs into other glazes, and if you're not careful it'll run off the bottom, so you've got to be a little careful, and I think I've managed to get it pretty good now. So I'll tell you the glaze names as far as I can when I actually show you these pieces. This is what they call mouse brown in the Cone 6 glazes, mastering Cone 6 glazes, and I have an oatmeal and Strontium crystal magic over the top of this one. And it actually, the Strontium crystal magic I only put on the outside of the pieces, and then I have turquoise matte on the bottom. Just basically, this is for our local, this is for, the Nova Scotia. Yeah, we've done so well on the COVID business that we've actually been asked to make mugs with Nova Scotia Strong printed on the bottom. I actually sold some to some government people, so let's angle this a little better so I don't have to duck down as much. Alright, so I fire on stilts. These are three little prong things. They work to Cone 6, and they will work for about, if you're lucky, 10 firings. So it's about, probably adds about 30 cents to every firing for each piece. But if you're really careful, you can make them last a lot longer. It's just that sometimes they actually, the prongs actually bend over the weight of the piece. That was the same glaze, that mouse brown. There you go. I find my lids on a little kiln prop, shelf prop, with a stilt on top, and then I can glaze right the way down the actual lid. And there's a little bit I have to knock off, a bit of sandpaper knocks the little roughness from the points. But this one is the glaze that's called Variegated Blue in the Cone 6, Mastering Cone 6 book, with my oatmeal on the top, and then a little bit of Strontium crystal magic right on the top of the oatmeal. Actually, no, the Strontium crystal magic is always put on first, then the base glaze over the tops, which would be the variegated blue there, and then the oatmeal just goes on top of everything. Here is your classic chip and dip. And this glaze is the one that's called Tenmaku Gold. On the internet you can find that recipe. I'm sure it's printed everywhere. And then basically, so I've got Tenmaku Gold in the chip bowl, because that's just an iron glaze, and then I have Strontium crystal magic dipped on the rim of this piece, and then the oatmeal over the top of that. And there you go. And I have to wipe the glaze off the bottom of these, because it's actually, platters tend to warp if you put them on top of stilts. So, but anyway, this clay body is 455 speckle, manganese speckle from Pottery Supply House in Toronto and all that. So there you go. These are some more, and this one's really shows it nicely. Basically, I glazed Tenmaku Gold on the inside, and then I dipped Strontium crystal magic to about there, about 2.5 centimeters, an inch down. and then I dipped the Tenmoku Gold all the way down on the piece, almost to the bottom. And then basically when it was dry, then I dipped it in the oatmeal on the rim, and I have this turquoise matte glaze that I dipped on the bottom there. So you can see the way it runs and gives you that. And I fluted the piece, obviously. So you get that nice little running effect. These are whiskey glasses. So this one's very pretty. It has the same type of glazing I just described, where I did Tenmoku Gold on the inside, and then I used my fake ash glaze on the, after I did the Strontium Crystal Magic in the upper inch there, dipping it like that, and then dipped it into the fake ash glaze, but not all the way to the bottom. I like to do the bottom in a slightly different color. But these are little shot glasses. There you go. But it's nice the way the glaze is run, and you've got these different bands of color where the Strontium Crystal Magic is affecting the Tenmoku Gold, and then you've got the oatmeal that runs down over the top. So you've got the extra band of color. Tenmoku Gold on the inside. There's my little stilts that I hold, and then there's the prop on the inside, and you just pull it out. There you go. I have a yellow glaze too, and this is my turquoise. I put some of my yellow in the and of course there's a little bit of Strontium Crystal Magic on the top again. But notice there's no running now, because I've kind of figured out just how far down I can glaze with this Strontium Crystal Magic without it running. And this is all the speckled clay, which in my tests you'll notice I did a white clay and also the speckled clay, and the speckled clay was way more successful. It did not run very much at all on that. So I am playing around with the white clay too, to actually see whether I can get that controlled too. These are more of those mugs that are for the pandemic residents of Nova Scotia. We've actually pretty much proven that it can be controlled. The pandemic is definitely, I mean, we had the last 4 or 5 days, we're getting, it was 4 cases on one day, then 3 days with only 2 cases a day. And then yesterday we had a spike because we had some people coming on an airplane, and apparently 3 of them had COVID. So yesterday we got 7 cases total, but all of them were travel related, which means they got off a plane from somewhere else. Now the firing schedule for these, and I think it works really well for the crystal development, is that I fire up pretty standard, a couple of 100 degrees an hour, all the way up to 2,205 degrees Fahrenheit, soak for 11 minutes, and then I let it fall as fast as possible, 9999 on the computer controller, down to 2,000 degrees, where I soak it for 30 minutes, and that's where the crystals tend to develop, I think, as well. And then I fire fast down from 2,000 degrees to 1750 by punching in 9999 on the computer, and it will just drop naturally to 1750, where I then soak it for an hour and all that. And that, you can get your iron glazes developing a little better at that. Obviously these are not iron, but this is basically just about, it's titanium and tin in a turquoise glaze, where I add some copper carbonate, or was it copper oxide? I think it was copper oxide in these ones, and basically just 1 or 2%. It's probably just 1% actually, and that gives you that turquoise. There you go. I did a whole set of these just because we live on the ocean. The kind of yellow beach water kind of look, it's quite a popular color here. All right. But anyway, we've done well with COVID. We're hoping the Christmas holiday doesn't ruin it, because a lot of people are traveling, of course, at the moment. So we're kind of expecting the numbers will go up. These are the kiln shells that are very thin, very light, but they are expensive, but honestly, they're worth it. Because if anything runs onto them, it just comes right off. Wow, got a good lot here. What can I pick first? Well, let's go with the teapot. Maybe. Do I have the lid out of this one? No, I don't. The lid's not out of this one yet. Okay, here's a really nice teapot. Tenmoku gold. Whoa, look at the run. Tenmoku gold. I did the turquoise on the bottom. The Strontium Crystal Magic was dipped to about there. You can see the way it's running down a little. You get this kind of feel of running there. And then I did oatmeal to the top of there. And basically it seems to have, whether you can see it or not, there's a little hint of some blues in there too. That must be the Strontium Crystal Magic. It's probably devitrification, I think that's what they call it. There you go, this is the real English teapot. You can pour it like that. The lid should not fall out with my teapot, so that's why I was hoping the lid would be there for this one, so I could show you, because when you're pouring, if the lid falls out, you break the lid. So I try and make it so it's tight enough so that it doesn't do that. But look at that teapot, very pretty teapot. Here is the turquoise version where the lid is out, and we'll see whether it still fits in there. So this one, there you go. This is the blue, green, copper, red. It's a red. I think you can just type in blue, green, copper, red or on the internet and you'll find this glaze recipe. It goes red in the gas kiln, which I've done a previous video on. And then to match the colors of those mugs, which those mugs are to match this teapot basically. So it would be red in the gas kiln. Here's your lid. See what I mean? Let's see if I can risk it. Yeah, it didn't fall out. So there you go. That's how you try and do an English teapot, so you can pour without worrying about losing your lid and all that. But you also have to time it really well. So if you think you're going to be the spout liquid, you don't want to fill a teapot so it runs out of the spout. So basically the spout edge should be just under the height of the actual top of the teapot, and then when you put the lid in, if it's too full, you'll end up pushing some of the water out unless you have a hole in the lid. So sometimes I put a hole in the lid, and this one I didn't. But there you go, that's to match those mugs. Oh, here's the teapot lid for the iron one. No, this was a different lid. No, I did a teapot that was really beige, so this is not the lid for that teapot. I know because it's got the oatmeal on the underside, and that one would be Tenmoku gold. But that's another lid. And now we have some beautiful tea bowls here. I don't know why I keep making them, because I have probably a couple of hundred tea bowls made already. I just love making tea bowls and all that. I mean, I suppose you could use them with a spoon for ice cream as well, but they're just juice balls. But look at the way the Strontium Crystal Magic affected that glaze. This is the fake ash glaze with the Strontium Crystal Magic. So once again, just to repeat it, I pour the food safe glaze on the inside, pour it out, basically dip it in Strontium Crystal Magic about an inch down, then dip it into the fake ash glaze to that point there, and then basically turn it over. I'll dip the bottom, in this case it was the turquoise, and when that's dry, I just dip the top rim in the oatmeal. Right, so you've got this, you can barely see it, but you have this really nice gradation of the actual colors falling down the piece. There's the lid for the teapot. So, if I'm lucky, oh, no, that one came out. No, this one's not going to work that way. But I try and do it so that, and it's hard with the shrinkage rate, so I'll have to be aware of that one. So when I'm holding it to pour it, I'll just have to hold it like that. But that's what I aim for, is to have the lid not fall out. It's odd because it does that and it doesn't come out. So it's close, but it's really a case of really measuring. See, it would do that. Yep, it's holding. But it's still not secure about that one. So I'd warn the customer they have to hold the lid. That's a nice teapot too. Here's another one with Tenmoku gold. Look at the way the color has melted on that one. It's even too, I mean, very even. But these are really pretty tea balls. And I'm getting it down. There's the stilt thing on the bottom. You just pull it right off. I actually am nervous about this Strontium Crystal Magic stilt, so I stilt fired this one, but I wiped the bottom of the foot off too, because I wanted to fire it without, but I'm still nervous, so I thought maybe it will still run a little bit, but the running is so controlled now that I don't think I have to worry about that too much. There's a little run coming down there, but didn't go far enough down. Oh, there's another one there. So you've got to be aware it is running. So if I went 2 inches down, maybe I'd get some running over the bottom. It is repeatable. I mean, it really is controllable now. Of course, now when you glaze, you're going to have to keep your glaze at a certain thickness. So if you add more water to the glaze or you let it evaporate, that would all change. There's the stilt fired piece again. This is the fake ash one. So it's doing the same thing on every piece. So basically I've got this one figured out. And the ash one is figured out too. Wow, it's just a very pretty, and they say this Strontium Crystal Magic enhances any glaze, but it does its best work on iron glazes. These are just regular coffee mugs. I designed this shape back in England in the 80s, so I've been doing this shape, and once again I always glaze with a safe glaze on the inside. Iron glazes are generally pretty safe to put, but I have a white glaze I put on the inside too, which is my base that I use for my oatmeal. To make the white glaze into an oatmeal, I just put ilmenite and iron ochre into my white glaze. It's just a semi-matte or it's a satin glaze basically. It's not full gloss, but those are pretty. It has almost a pattern making ability when you control it like that. There's a set of tea balls for every teapot. So in all these colors, I have a teapot to match. And then I'm going to make some trays to put them on. Probably do that between Christmas and New Year if the weather's bad. If the weather's good, I'll probably be going on lots of walks between Christmas and New Year. This is such a pretty glaze. Tenmuku gold on the inside. And this is the cups to match that teapot I just showed you. There we go. Lots of stilts, still good. I haven't seen any stilts come off that were crushed. Sometimes the weight of the piece can actually just bend over the pins. But they're very cheap to buy. I mean, even the big ones only cost about $3 a piece. So. And you can see where glazes have stuck to these ones. Not from this firing, this was a different firing, so I just sand that off. It'll come right off. In those first Strontium Crystal Magic glaze tests, that's where all those rings are from that first set of tests. Okay, let's do the teapots again. This is the teapot that has Tenmuku gold on the inside. You can't quite see it, but it's dark on the inside. And then we've got the fake ash with the oatmeal and Strontium Crystal Magic at the top. And then the turquoise. I like to do the turquoise, a slightly different color on the underside there. And then basically, and I always sign my pieces, and a lot of potters really frown on that. I have people finding me decades after they bought something because they look up my name and it says La Have, Nova Scotia on the bottom of them. So they look up my name, or they will look up pottery in La Have, Nova Scotia and find me. And so as a marketing ploy, advertising, it's free advertising. Everybody who buys a piece can find you in the future, unless you're trying to hide, you know. Maybe it's not such a good idea. Better make really good pottery if you're going to sell it, because you don't want to have people finding you 25, 30 years later. All right, let's see what happens with it. Oh, no, that one's not going to do it either. So these ones are a bit loose on the top, I think, unless this is a lid to a different one. But yeah, I think that's the right lid. So, so I'm going to warn people, they pour and they just have to hold the lid like that. There you go. And then this one. This is the variegated blue in the center, overlapped with the turquoise down there, and then the oatmeal and the strontium crystal magic in the upper half. Do I have the lid? Yeah, I have the lid for this one. Yep, this one will work. Isn't it annoying when it doesn't work? There you go. I'm brave. All right, but that's what I would like them all to do. And it is a matter of the shrinkage, because the other part is if you make it so tight and then you glaze them, your piece, the lid won't fit in, because the glaze has a thickness too on the rim, but also on the edge of the piece here. So basically, it's a real challenge to make that lid stay the right size so it catches and doesn't fall off, but isn't too tight and you can't get it in there. That's a nice teapot too. Just got a bunch of mugs here. I'll go through them very quickly. Tenbaku Gold and the turquoise, and then the oatmeal strontium crystal magic on the top. Stilts on the bottom, they just pop right off. And my customers appreciate the glaze on the bottom, and they can still sign the piece over the glaze. I mean, you can see it says my name, Vaughan L. Smith, Lehigh, Nova Scotia. So, this is another one of the Nova Scotia Strong mugs. Yeah, we wish everybody all over the world could be the same as this, because we have had an economy. I'm down sales-wise this year about 20 to 25% from a normal season, which is nothing compared to a lot of people I've been hearing about. So some businesses just had to close. Well, we managed to take care of COVID and control the numbers. We did close down for 8 weeks in the spring. So we got it down to 0, and we stayed at 0 all summer. We just, everybody quarantined as they came in. I wish the word could get out and people would accept that a bit of a hardship for, a couple of months could get rid of this. There we go. More of these are just regular mugs. And this is one to match that. Oh, now here, this one's a little harder to get off. Sometimes they melt a little bit too much, and then you just take this and it'll fall right off. All right. And this one I did a different green on the bottom, but you can still see it reads real well. I choose glazes to put on the bottom where the signature, which is basically black underglaze, will actually do really well and show up. I made a bunch of soup bowls, and I only had 2 in this firing. These 2, Tenbaku Gold on the bottom, bright blue, which is out of Mastering Cone 6 glazes, and then the Strontium Crystal Magic on the outside in the upper part. So nice blue, really does change the blue. They're right, this glaze does enhance just about every other glaze that you put it on. So, not too long, 24 minutes, okay. I hope you all have a great Christmas season and celebrate, but celebrate carefully. and I hope to see you sometime in next week. I may do another video. Maybe it will just be unpacking the kiln at the moment, but I do have plans to do a whole bunch on trimming and taking photographs of artwork. I would like to talk about marketing for people. I've done just about everything over the last 40 years, and we could chat over that while throwing on the wheel, I guess. So, but send me in your questions if you have anything in the comments, subscribe and all the rest of it. And enjoy the holiday season. Have a drink and cheers. All right, I should have a mug in my hand. Cheers. Happy holidays. See you in 2021. Bye.